This is Hero Square in Budapest, where, as you can see, director Alan Parker and his minions have gone to great trouble to recreate the feeling of Buenos Aires in the 1950s. This scene here is going to be Eva Perón's death scene. As you can see, they brought in all these flowers. They've even brought in some to recreate the South American feeling. They've done everything they could to recreate the Buenos Aires of that period. The only thing they couldn't do is recreate the passion of the Argentinian people for Eva Perón, and for that they had to go south.
I feel like I survived a war.
Madonna's arrival in Argentina was just like old times, which is to say complete pandemonium. Fans were ecstatic, of course, but church and political leaders who treasured the memory of the woman they called Evita were outraged that Madonna had been chosen to portray her. And yet Eva Perón was not unlike Madonna in terms of her enormous will and determination. Born poor and illegitimate in a small rural town in 1919, Eva Duarte dreamed of becoming a movie star, and at the age of 15 ran off to Buenos Aires with a tango singer. By 1944, already a radio personality and budding movie actress, she had set her sights on Colonel Juan Perón. Eva persuaded him that by positioning himself as a champion of the poor, and with her help, Perón could become the country's maximum leader. They married in 1945, and within months, Perón was elected president. Evita was given her own government office, from which she cultivated her admirers among the workers and peasants. Perón's raised wages gave women the vote, nationalized industries, and ultimately ran the Argentine economy into the ground. Evita created her own foundation for the poor, but she also cultivated an appetite for high-priced Paris fashions. And with her husband, she reportedly funneled untold sums of state money into secret Swiss bank accounts. Just being First Lady was not enough for Evita, but her plans to run for Vice President alongside her husband were sundered when she learned that she had terminal cancer. She died in July of 1952 at the age of 33. Evita's story doesn't read like the usual life of a saint, but a saint is what she is to many Argentines, and when Madonna arrived in Buenos Aires, their resentment was loudly apparent.
We cannot accept Madonna saying she's just like Eva Perón because they both moved the people. Evita moved us by giving her life to her nation, and Madonna by exposing her vagina.
They're saying Madonna's scandalous and has sex, but they don't realize that everybody has sex. Nobody's the same.
For me, she's more than a singer. She's a way of life.
It's a shame these kids have idols that aren't worth anything.
They're judging her for her personal life, and they're not looking at her artistic capabilities.
I
don't like it one bit. It doesn't seem respectful. It seems totally out of place and a disaster. Better they don't do it.
Local hostility got so out of hand that a press conference had to be hastily arranged to calm the critics.
Truthfully, I think that the negative remarks that people have made are based on things that people don't know and don't understand. And I urge you all to form your opinions after you see the movie. It's a very grand story. It's a very operatic story. It's not just her life story, but it's also the backdrop of Argentine politics. It's the rise and fall of fascism in South America. And her story alone, to me, could be a musical. It's like A Star is Born, a girl who starts from nowhere, a rags to riches story, who brings herself up in the world and educates herself and becomes someone incredibly important.
It's the paradox that makes it interesting, makes it such a great story, you know. I mean, it's saint or sinner. I think there's a mixture of both in the woman.
I'm not interested in playing her one way or the other, like the saint that the Peronists thought she was, or the whore, the sinner that the anti-Peronists. I mean, both of those are one-dimensional, and people that attain that sort of power in their lifetime can never be just one thing anyway.
The biggest battle the filmmakers fought in Buenos Aires was for permission to film on the balcony of the presidential palace, the Casa Rosada, from which the Perones often addressed their followers. This permission could only be given by one man, one of Argentina's foremost Peronistas, President Carlos Menem.
I played him the music from the movie, and I explained to him what we wanted to do and how important it was that we had his support and his cooperation. And I begged him to let us film on the balcony of the Casa Rosada, and at the end he looked at me and he said, anything's possible.
Don't cry for me, Argentina. The truth is I never left you. All through my wild days, my mad existence, I kept my promise. Don't keep your distance.
I mean, the transformation of yourself is remarkable when you look at Evita and her. And so you have a tooth thing going on. And
Yes, I have fake teeth, temporarily bonded teeth. You can't see the space.
yes,
And I have brown eyes.
that's very convincing.
Do I look different?
You look like from another planet.
Really?
It's
Really?
incredible. From a planet of beautiful
I hope
people.
it's not a planet full of others, to say it, not a planet of ugly people or
No.
scary-looking people.
No. It's charming. This here is the makeup van, and makeup plays a key role in this movie. Now, of course, no one is here right now. Why else would we be here? But as you can see, everything is done right here. Hours of makeup are executed every day. Everyone gets up real early to do this. Here's all the brushes, pins, pads, potions, and powders. Here's a script, which someone seems to have been looking through. This is a scene we just saw. This is Eva Perón from period magazines, newspapers, news photos. This is the woman herself, and this is how she looked. Over here is what the magic of makeup has created. This is Madonna as Eva Perón, and the effect is striking. She looks like Eva Perón. It's really pretty amazing. And this is the model for Madonna's head. Hard as ever. I was reading something about you at the age of, I don't know, in 6th grade or something, where you were in some talent show and you did something to Baba O'Reilly, the Who song.
I wore a bikini, and I had my girlfriend paint in fluorescent paint flowers all over, very influenced by Laughing, if you remember.
Who wasn't?
Exactly. A real cultural experience. And I painted these things all over my body, and then I got on stage. I had a black light and a strobe light facing me, and I turned that song on, and I just danced. And then my father grounded me for like the entire summer or something. It was well worth it. I got asked out on a lot of dates after.
I'll bet. Show me these dance steps. Like, is there any hope for me on doing something like this?
Oh, please. It's a simple waltz.
Well, that's easy.
Go to Fred Astaire's School of Dance. I'm not showing you anything. I'm an old woman. I have stiff joints. I have to go to the bathroom now, so.
Okay.